Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jessica. Thank you so much for being here today if you're watching. Today's video is gonna be a big old book haul. It's almost the new year. It's almost 2023. I have kind of read through all the books I hoped to read in December. Not really though, honestly. I'm just ready to start off the new year and to start with some new reading goals, just start fresh. I went to Barnes&Noble, also went to a local used bookstore near me. These are the books I got, so let's talk about them. But let's start with what I got at the used bookstore. We've got Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, a classic love story. I've heard that this is a really great book to read in the winter time. So this is about Heathcliff and Catherine. You know what? I don't know. I know it's a love story and it's a pretty tumultuous love story too. That's really all I know. I started reading Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte and I really enjoyed that one a lot. I'm hoping I will enjoy this as well. Next book I got from the used bookstore was this one, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. So I am a huge fan of If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, and I've heard that this is basically the same book, it's just the students in this program are studying Greek mythology instead of Shakespeare. I actually did try to read this more toward the beginning of the year, and the beginning of this book was a little tough to get through. The dialogue and everything was a little thick. It might take me a little bit to really dig into this, but I'm intrigued. I would like to read this at some point. The next book that I have here is The Lion in the Living Room, and this is a nonfiction book all about cats. Just recently finished another book about cats. This says How House Cats Tamed Us and Took Over the World. This is just a lot about the history of cats and the history of humans keeping them as pets. First one here that I want to talk about is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Mosfeg. I actually already started reading a little bit of this and I'm enjoying it a lot. I think I've watched another video on YouTube and about like red flag books, and I believe this is one of the red flag books. Like if you enjoy this book, you have issues. The Catcher in the Rye is also on that list, and I really like The Catcher in the Rye. I don't know what that says about me. I am enjoying this one. This book reminds me a little bit kind of like a more like modern day version of The Bell Jar. So this is set in New York City, Upper East Side of Manhattan in the year 2000. It has all that early 2000s nostalgia. This is a story of a young woman who has recently really been struggling with some things in her life, and she would like to just go to sleep for a year. She would like to hibernate. The way that she goes about doing this is not good, not recommended, not healthy. It's definitely dark. Got a lot of dark humor in it. Enjoying Tessa's writing. I like it. Next up on the list is The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This is part of the Throne of Glass series, which is like a really long series. There are 7 more books after this. So these are the Throne of Glass novellas. Our main character here is, I think how you pronounce it, I could be saying this wrong, it's either Selena or I think it's Chelena. And she is her kingdom's most powerful assassin. These are a bunch of little novellas that kind of give the backdrop, the backstory to the rest of the series about secret society of assassins in a fantastical world. I'm really interested to jump into another Sarah J. Maas series. We'll see how I like this one. Next up, I have Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. I have not read any Jane Austen books yet. I have Pride and Prejudice, but I have not gotten to that yet. The only thing I really know about this one is it's one of Jane Austen's Gothic romance novels. I really don't know much about this except that it's a Gothic romance, so we'll see what I think of Jane Austen after I read this one, Northanger Abbey. Next up, I have A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, another classic. This is set in, obviously, New York City. I don't know much about this one either. I've heard quotes from this book and I just thought they were really, really beautiful and always stuck with me. So it's about a young girl living in Brooklyn. Just about a young girl growing up in New York City. I'm excited to get this one. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. So up next, I have this young adult fantasy duology, Vow of Thieves and Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. And what is this about? I don't know. Find that out. So this is a young adult fantasy series. I believe it's a romance. Is this the first one? This might be the first one. What is this? I just looked up the summary for this and I still kind of don't get it. Which one's first? Okay, so basically what I have gathered is we've got two families in this fantasy universe that are against each other. They're rival families. And Kazi and Jace are, it looks like, the two main characters. They are, you know, kind of pinned against each other in this situation. Vow of Thieves, Dance of Thieves, so we'll see. The last book I have here is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. This was the Barnes&Noble Book of the Year. So this is the story about a woman who's a chemist at a research institute in the 1960s, and she's the only woman. Elizabeth, she falls in love with one of the other chemists that she works with at the beginning of this book, and then it flashes into the future. A few years later, she has a baby now, and she also has a cooking show. Our main character here, Elizabeth, she has her own cooking show that becomes very successful. She kind of merges science with cooking. I think the main theme of this book is she's not only teaching women to cook, she's teaching them how to kind of question the way that things are in terms of men and women and equality. Looks interesting. That is it. Woo! How many books do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you again so much for watching today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!